I hope you get to watch today's episode instead of listen because I had the opportunity of sitting down in person at American Dream, the second largest mall in America. And man, they are doing incredible things. I really just feel like they are leading the charge when it comes to retail and innovation and entertainment, infusing attractions and entertainment and experiences with retail. So this was an inspiring, packed conversation with American Dream's GM and Senior Vice President Bryan Gaus, as well as the Small Attractions Manager, Anthony DiAmbrosio. And look, yes, this is the second largest mall in America, but we scale it down, you know me, in this episode of really helping our independent retailers. I had the opportunity of doing a 4-hour behind the scenes store tour in January of 25 and at American Dream. And Anthony helped lead that, so did Bryan. And I was just really blown away by this facility and by the things they're doing. And I was feeling so inspired for our retailers that afterwards I emailed Anthony, and he talks a lot about fun. He's super fun. I call him the ambassador of fun. And I emailed him and I said, Anthony, it would be so fun to talk about fun on my show and really help inspire our listeners. Well, what do you say? And both him and Bryan enthusiastically said, let's do it. And so it all worked out that we could be in person. They are in New Jersey, but it's a 10-minute drive from the Javits Center, if you're familiar with New York City. And we had the best conversation. In today's episode, you're going to learn how to really balance juggling, running your store while still having fun and really taking care of your customers and your team and creating an incredible culture and what things you should be measuring and focusing on. I just feel like this was a really inspiring conversation that we so can take what larger businesses are doing and learn from them. Even though we are small businesses and we are indie, there's so much that we could take from what people are doing and not recreate the wheel and just really shortcut our success and learn from what they're doing, especially leaders like pioneers in the space. Very cool to have them on the Rooted in Retail show. And I know that you're going to get a lot of value, inspiration, motivation out of this episode. Again, if you could watch it, we have some B-roll where we got to go all around on this cart and just tour the mall. It was really fun. They have incredible things going on. So let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Crystal Vilkaitis, the Wolf of Main Street, and this is Rooted in Retail. Anthony, Bryan, welcome to Rooted in Retail. I'm thrilled you're here.
Yeah, welcome to American Dream.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is awesome. If you are listening, you need to go watch because we are in person here in New Jersey, and I'm so excited to sit down and have this conversation with you guys. Before we dive in, share a little bit about your retail journey. Bryan, I'll have you kick us off here.
Yeah, so I've been in the industry for almost 20 years now. Started my professional career in the airlines. Went through the whole airline scene, September 11th, and a friend of mine called me up and said, you got to come check this out. And I ended up working for a company called Westfield and spent about 15 years there, about 8 different shopping centers throughout my career, learned a lot. I actually was not a shopping center fan when I was told about the industry. I'm like, I don't even like shopping, but I fell in love with it. It's a really unique environment. After Westfield, I got the opportunity to work at Hudson Yards, open up Hudson Yards in Manhattan. And then I was recruited to come to American Dream, which has really been probably the highlight of my career.
Awesome.
It's such an awesome facility, its uniqueness, its diversity, it just really energized me. And I think what you'll hear a little bit of Anthony's talking about is the freedom that we have to engage with the consumer is on a different level, and that's because of the diversity of American Dream. So I'll let you throw in some of the fun stuff to that.
But, I didn't realize how much similarities we've had. Mine couldn't be more different.
Oh, okay.
I actually got into retail by accident. I lived in Manhattan in the 90s. I was calling a friend of ours to invite him to a party at our house. He couldn't make it, but he's like, I'm looking for seasonal product demonstrators for FAO Schwarz, the big store in New York City on Fifth Avenue. And I was like, yeah, I'll do a seasonal job. I need a little extra money at the time. I was an actor. I loved the job. I took to it like a duck to water. I basically got to play with toys, show people how they work, and sold it to them. And not only did I enjoy it, I turned out to be pretty good at it. And they kept me on after the holidays. I stayed there for many, many, many years, eventually becoming the manager there, a senior manager of product demonstration and guest and entertainment. So all the characters, the toy soldiers. In fact, I would say if that store had never closed, I'd probably still be there. It was like a magical retail experience.
Yeah.
Even helped years later help them open up their location in Rockefeller Center.
Oh, wow.
But I've always worked at wacky places like this. Disney World, I would spend some time there.
Oh, cool.
Toys R Us Times Square. I was even a manager at Macy's for Santa Land. So I managed all that kind of stuff. But then, so I used to drive back and forth from the city, and I used to tell my wife, you know, it's inevitable. I'm going to work at this place, American Dream. It's like Disney World in New Jersey.
Seriously.
And lo and behold, I got here through retail. So I did start in retail here. I went to birthday parties and events because I genuinely really believe in experiences. I love to sell people experiences.
Yeah.
And then about a year later, Bryan came to me about the small attractions, and I became a small attractions manager here.
Okay, amazing. I mean, I feel like there's so much in your backgrounds that we could go into, but we're going to have a great conversation today. So now you guys have an immersive experience. Like when I tell my friends and our retailers about this place, I'm always like, there's ski slopes, there's a water park, you could do karaoke with a hologram figure, there's an ice skating rink, there's Lego, like Ferris wheels, all sorts of stuff going on here, which is really incredible. And so that playful experience for your guests, you could tell, is really front and center here. Can you share how surprise and delight became so central to the brand and how it shapes day-to-day operations?
Yeah, well, you take a look at Anthony and what he's wearing here. It's like, you know, he's not in a suit and a tie.
Yeah.
And that's normally what he's wearing here, right? You know,
good.
I think what you're seeing right there is a memorable moment, right? You won't see this in a typical brick and mortar shopping center, right?
Right.
And I think that's the uniqueness of this property is just creating that memory. Having the guests come here. I mean, we're in the Avenue right now, a luxury district here at American Dream, and right down the road up here, literally, right, is an amusement park and a water park and a ski hill and golf courses and an ice rink and Sesame, Learn and Play and Hasbro, right? There's all these different things here, and combining those together is just what I think the future of retail and shopping really is, right? But more importantly, it's creating those memorable moments. How do you not look at this guy and laugh, right? But that's why, I mean, I fell in love with Anthony when I first met him, and I'm like, you got to do more than what you're currently doing, and that's really created this whole fun piece to surprise and delight, connect with the consumer. Somebody walks into American Dream, it really has come to shopping, and all of a sudden there's SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Or there's Anthony, doing juggling or something. But go ahead. I know you stealing your show here.
No, hardly. It's just, I think you're absolutely right. Especially, this place is so big. There's so much to do there that when you connect with just one guest, with a family, and really kind of understand what they're here for, and just start, I love when it's just natural, when you start talking to a family, and little by little you understand what they're here for, and you're like, tell you what, you take it a step further than what they expected, is really very special, and it's so rewarding for them and us.
Yeah, we've got some exciting things coming up here shortly with our characters that we're going to start doing, but kind of like shocking elements, like something happens at a check-in process where the Ninja Turtles come up and has to get involved. I don't want to get into too far of the details, but
a little sneak
it's a lot of fun stuff that if you're waiting in a line, to check in, or if you're just walking around where, hey Dad, look what just happened, and they go home and tell their friends and their families, and it's free marketing.
It's free marketing. Yeah, everybody's taking out their phones, they're taking pictures, they're putting that on social, they become your viral sales soldiers for you. But when you really look through that lens of surprise and delight, and a Ninja Turtle comes out, I mean, like, that's a surprise, that's a delight. I love it. That's so cool. Now, many of our listeners are small retailers, they have smaller operations, and sometimes it just feels like there might not be time for fun because we're just doing so much. And they're juggling so much. So how do you embed fun at work into daily operations, and how do you see it affecting employee morale and customer satisfaction?
Yeah, I mean, this is a fun place to work, right? I mean, what I just explained on what you can do, the uniqueness that you can do. I think you can downsize that into a little bit and kind of take the fun into a personal connection with the consumer, right? Listen to the customer. I've been in front of a customer since I was 19 years old, at a ticket counter at the airlines, right? And I was scared to death of the customers, right? It took me a long time to have the confidence to to talk to the guest and kind of listen. Listening to the guest is probably the most important piece of all of this, right? So listen to the guest. You heard Anthony talking to a family and then found out something they like, right? So it doesn't have to be this massive, big asset, right? I mean, we have the advantage of that, right? But some of the small mom and pops, as I like to call them, is get into understanding what your consumer, listen to your consumer, learn from them, and try and do something special for them. Whether it's a thank you note handwritten after they shop there, or something offering them a glass of water, right? Telling a joke, right? Just lightening the moment. Shopping's supposed to be fun, and coming to an attraction is supposed to be fun. And I think for a while there, it's just gotten way, way, way too serious, right? And that's why I think this property will be so successful, because we can combine both, right? Luxury with mainstream, right? That kind of stuff. It's all relevant.
It is all
relevant. And it's all about the connection with the consumer.
It is.
And then I say, look, how much time do we spend here at work? At least 8+ hours. You spend a lot of time here. You could carve out 15 minutes for something silly. Even if it's stickers at the POS just for little kids. I tell you what, even as simple as like maybe a kazoo in your pocket. You know what I mean? You got to keep it like surprising. You never know. And you know what? I think you have to look at your store. Something that we do here may not be appropriate for your store. So look at your store. Maybe there's something extra special that makes your store unique. Offer that to your guests. And just be silly throughout the day. Just even if you have to schedule it, you could easily have time for fun.
Talk a little bit about internal employees. Like, we did our State of the Union, if you will, right? Leading up into the fourth quarter, we wanted to rally the troops and kind of let everyone know, we got a very busy shopping season coming up. And so we had our CEO, Don Gramasium, speak, and most of those are Thai and sitting down in a big conference room. Well, we had, we had Shrek, Santa Shrek, start the show off, and we did a dance. Before we started off, and we were clapping and getting everyone going.
Amazing.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
And then we, we had some serious moments, but at the end of the day, it was fun, right? Like, take advantage of the tools you have to connect with your employees and have fun with it.
We can take it so serious. I like to ask, like, how much more fun can this be? Like, just turn it up. And to your point, we are working all these hard days. Like, let's just have some fun, make it easy. Podcast guest that we had on, Wilrit Flowers, one thing they do when they have kids that come in is they just give the kid a balloon. Every kid gets a balloon, and it's something that's so simple, but it makes them feel something. We just really need to make our customers feel something.
Well, a lot of the flair that Anthony's wearing.
Kids are always looking at my pins, which is great. I'm like, which one's your favorite? I'm not giving them any, but no.
You should start like Disney,
No,
right?
Let's
change
we actually
pins.
we do that. We do that in Nickelodeon.
Oh, okay, very cool.
We do have a pin.
Oh, that's awesome. Love it. Okay, so you, Anthony, have spent over 30 years in customer service, and Bryan, you similar, right? You said 19 years old. So how has these experiences shaped your approach to creating memorable guest interactions, and what 1 to 2 lessons from your career would you share with smaller retailers aiming to deliver that top-tier service every day?
Okay. Well, I think for the fact that you said that I'm 30 years in, it means I'm old. All right.
No, you're 32. You started when you were 2.
So I guess one thing I've realized at this point in my life is that I genuinely enjoy and appreciate good service. And I understand how important it is, no matter where you go, whether it's a restaurant, a store, an amusement park. It's that human just respect and just attention. So that's why I feel like that's what we really need to offer our guests on a regular basis. And I feel good about doing that. It's just so rewarding to make somebody's day like that. If there's one thing I could pass on, I would say hiring, the staffing is just so super duper important, especially in the customer service realm. I am a firm believer of hiring the personality and then teaching the job. I mean, this is not, it's not brain surgery. You can't teach somebody to be engaging and thoughtful and fun. You can teach them how to ring up, you can do all that stuff, but you really need to hire the personality and then teach them the job.
Excellent tip.
I would say a tip from my mother. My mother worked for Sizzler for 30-some years, right?
I still love that.
I think she's one of the longest-lasting employees at Sizzler.
That's amazing.
And she, like I dealt with at the airlines, you deal with some difficult situations, right? And the stress of flying and stress of ordering a meal or whatever. And no matter what the situation is kill them with kindness, right? We could sit here and do a whole subject on my airline years with some of the craziness that I've had, right? But when you have that, let's talk about the irate customer or the upset customer, is how do you, I got encouraged, like, I'm gonna turn this around. I'm gonna find a way to get this person to say thank you and I'm coming back,
Yep.
right? And that's hard to do,
That
right?
is.
That took a lot of time for me to try to get there, but if you're getting yelled at or there's a scene, you just try to use a calm voice, get them engaged, right?
Yeah.
I'm here to help you. Let's get through this together. I'm going to make this better for you, and get there, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's one piece of it. And flip it around to the positive experience, like where Anthony's always coming in, is always come in smiling, engaging, have fun,
Yeah.
pull out your kazoo, things like that.
Yeah.
There's tools that you have in your toolkit
For
that
sure.
will help in any situation to try and either diffuse it or elevate it
Yeah.
to the next level. One of the things that we're trying very hard on is the surprise and delight. We have our characters meet on the top of the entryway as you go down into the parks, right? And taking the child down there, the first in line to open the door, right? Or do something with the character, right? Again, it's just elevating that experience to that memory back to that child.
Exactly.
So then they come shopping here when they're a little bit older,
Yeah.
right? So kill them with kindness, right? No matter
Yeah.
what the situation, positive, negative, it's always going to work out for you.
It's so true. Yeah.
I just want to piggyback on one thing he just mentioned, because I do hear that a lot. Anthony, you're always in such a great mood at work. And one thing I did learn was somewhere in a training was choose your attitude. And to be fair, I'm not actually always in a good mood.
No?
Quite often I'll pull into the parking lot. Well, no, that's the thing, and you haven't, and you won't. Because when you're at work, you got to choose your attitude. You have to decide, hey, I'm here at work. My coworkers don't want an annoying, irritable Anthony.
No.
The customers don't want an irritable Anthony.
No.
They want a silly, fun Anthony. And that's what I have to do here. Sure, maybe being in acting helped out a little bit, but nonetheless, you have to choose your attitude before you walk into work, especially when you're dealing with customers.
I was going to ask if acting helped, because it's almost like you're putting on your costume. Like, this is my performance as I'm coming in, and this is how I have to be for the culture, for the team, for our guests. So that probably helped you.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I love when we talk about stories on the show. So will you share a story of a time when American Dream created a wow moment for guests, something that truly captured that vision of surprise and delight, and what made it so special?
Okay. Nice. Okay. No. We do a bunch of fun things. Everything from, one of my favorites was driving Santa around on the Jeep that we rode around on. We do a fun character parade where all the characters we have in this building are all in a parade through because people just don't expect that.
Yeah.
But two real quick ones I want to let you know. They involved guests, similar to the way we were discussing earlier. And I think I even have some pictures I'll share with you.
I would love that, yeah.
One of my personal favorites was, I love rewarding people here early. So they're the ones who are so excited about being here. We didn't open until about 11 o'clock that day. I walked in about 9 o'clock. There was two guys sitting by Nickelodeon ticket booth going, what time do you open? I was like, guys, not for like 2 hours from now.
Yeah.
So I said, I tell you what. And they were all dressed in Nickelodeon, T-shirts, the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
I said, I tell you what, I'll be right back. Stay right here. My name's Anthony. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I got this silly hat. I got this silly shirt. I said, come with me. We played a round of mini golf.
Oh my
and then I
gosh.
even gave them a private tour of Nickelodeon before it opened. They were beside
Wow.
themselves. I mean,
Huge.
and what did it cost us? Nothing. It didn't cost a dime.
Exactly.
I had more than enough time. I had all the things I had to do, and they genuinely enjoyed it.
Yep.
The only other one I thought was really cute, we have an ice rink here, as
Yeah.
we talk about. The ice rink does change from time to time, and at that point it was a roller rink. And I ran into a family from Nigeria. And they had asked me where the ice rink was, and I was like, well, and I was explaining to them it's a roller rink. They're like, oh, we really wanted to see snow. We've never seen it. I was like, oh. I said, I'll tell you what, follow me. So we walked them and gave them a little mini tour of big snow. It was just speechless to see how cute they were. They could not believe. She thought it was, she's like, no, this is sand. I'm like, no, that is snow.
Oh my
So it was
gosh,
just adorable.
blown away.
It's
Yeah.
just something that they're always going to remember.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And what did it take? A couple of minutes of my time during the day? Nothing. It didn't cost us a dime.
Exactly.
So, and it's just really sweet.
That is
Yeah, I think one that I was just recently involved in, and I think it was kind of at the beginning of the holiday season, and I was walking up, in a rush as I always am, to run into a meeting, and I saw this younger couple, and they looked confused, and I went up to them and I said, hi, how are you? I said, did you need some help? And they said, oh, we're going to Nickelodeon today, but we're really interested in seeing DreamWorks, but we're a little bit tight on money. I think you remember this
remember
one,
them.
right?
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
from
yeah.
Iceland, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they were just, an adorable couple. They were, starting. They're young, right?
Yeah.
And they were just so nice. And I said, "Where are you guys? Where are you at?" And, well, we're staying in the city, but I don't know if we can come back. I said, "I tell you what." I said, "You guys go to Nickelodeon today. Wait here for a few minutes. I'm gonna get you free tickets to the water park." Okay. I think we hooked them up. Didn't we put them in a skybox?
I met them the next day.
Yeah, we put them in a skybox,
Oh,
right? A small
cool.
skybox.
Yeah.
They were just right. I said, well, they were just so happy, right? And I said, well, there's one thing you have to do for me, right? And I said, what's that? And I said, tell everyone in Iceland about American Dream,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And they looked at us and they said, no problem. And they came back, and I was busy, and they gave me a piece of candy about this big, right?
This is our favorite
This is our
candy.
favorite
Please
candy
give this
from
to
Iceland,
Bryan.
Oh my God.
right?
Oh,
And
that's
to
so
me, I was
sweet.
like, so
Yeah.
cool. But we do things like that all the time, right? And we encourage our team to be empowered to do things like that.
Okay.
If it's a slower time, upgrade someone to a cabana, upgrade someone to give them the fast passes, to get in the line. It's just, there's that surprise and delight that we're talking about, and the empowerment that we give to our team members to create that memorable experience.
Yeah, I think you have to, because it can't come from just one person.
That's
so
right.
The fact that they feel that they have that power to do it.
And we've come a long ways. I mean, the word empowerment and the word ownership are something I really believe in.
Yeah.
And we've come a long ways in the last 3 or 4 years to get our team members to be, encouraged to empower and own the transaction, if you will.
Yeah. Do you have a tip on how to help retailers do that with their teams?
Yeah, again, I think it's using the tools that you have. Simple things. If it is a smaller organization, offer a free soda, offer something here, offer to pay for their parking, if there's a parking meter out there, invite them back. Tell them about an event that's maybe in the industry. It's that engagement, you know what I mean? If it's like a jewelry store and something that's going on in the future, hey, there's this great thing that's happening in my small town, you should come back for it, right?
Yeah.
It's connecting with that consumer, utilizing the tools that you have in whatever business that you have.
Right, and goes back to just listening, understanding what they need. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've done 12 podcast interviews in the past 2 weeks, and I've noticed
And this has been the best one?
And this is the best one. I can't say that. I've loved all 12. And but I will say that I've noticed something new that's starting to happen with my retailers when we're kind of talking about success, and they're starting to really measure it based on how their customers feel and leaving happy whether they bought something or not. And so that's kind of been an interesting thing, because a lot of small businesses, when they think of ROI, it's like, okay, if I'm going to up my experience and I'm going to put money in this and time and resources, how am I going to see the response, the results? How do I really measure that? So I'd be curious for you guys, how do you measure the ROI in creating a better retail experience, and which metric do you recommend our retailers to be measuring too?
Yeah, I mean, ROI and NOI, right? Kind of dangerous areas, right? So how do you value, the ROI to the NOI? I look at ROI as we talk about free marketing.
Yep.
Like all these things we talked about, like giving a free wristband away to get a pass, right? That's an ROI engagement, right? Now you can't measure that, kind of, right? You can't measure it financially, but you can watch your traffic trends, right? You can watch your reviews. We review every review we get daily.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, which is a lot. When you think about the volume that's coming through here, and we respond to every review, whether positive or negative, to the consumer. Like if there's a positive one, thank you, hope to see you again soon, right? And very informally. We don't want this to be, a formal structure, right? So I think you got to look at your ROI as the consumer is probably your best opportunity to increase your NOI by engaging with the consumer. And we've been talking about that a lot, right? Yes, we're all in this to make money, right? We all are, right? That's what we're here to do. But I believe that if you create that engagement, awareness, conversion, repeat business is something I've been telling my teams, right? You've heard that a million times, right? Awareness, how do we get them here, right? Conversion, how do we get them to come back? Repeat business, now you're making money.
Exactly.
Right? So again, it's about that engagement, the kill them with kindness. All the stuff that I've been talking about and Anthony's been talking about is you have to understand the dollar value to the engagement with the consumer, because you're not going to see it as a number initially. You'll see it as the trends start coming up with the traffic and the engagement.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
That's great. I don't think I could have said it any better.
Yeah, great,
Perfect.
Love it. Okay, so we talked about how retail can be pretty tough, especially for some of our small retailers. So how do we recommend keeping it fresh and fun, customer focused on those really hard days?
The more empowerment you give the employees, I'm telling you, it is so rewarding. It's just as, if not more rewarding for the employee than it is for the customer.
Yeah.
They'll walk away beaming. I remember doing a little trivia contest, which again, doesn't cost anything. Depending on your store, you come up with a fun little questions and you ask. She walked away going, that was one of the most fun things I've ever done. And it was great. It was just something we randomly did, Nickelodeon trivia, just to entertain people while they were online.
Okay.
It could be, like I said, it's something as simple as keeping stickers at the POS. And like, again, just so you're saying, you focus on the children, you got a customer for life.
Yep.
But it could be also, you look at those national days, like National Licorice Day and National Ice Cream Day.
Yeah.
Those are always fun and so silly, and there's about 5 of them every day.
It's so random.
You're bound to find 3 or 4 that's going to be appropriate for you and your team,
Sure.
and you do that. Or even something as, Wacky Hat Wednesday or Silly Sock Saturday, something to keep them engaged and let them have a little bit of their personality come out, I think is so important.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, the personality, right? Everyone's different. If you look at the 3 of us here, we're actually completely different people, right?
Yeah.
We're having a great conversation, right? I think getting the employees to have their personality come back. We did a program where we put buttons on a lot of our team members, or asked them to wear buttons. I think
Is this one?
Yeah. And what does it say?
It says, "Ask me about."
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
Right.
To create a
So
conversation.
that's his favorite, one of your favorite.
Well, it's so funny you should say that. So I threw this on here, ask me about Tilt 3D,
Yeah.
because if they ask me, they get in for free. I take them immediately, going, you ding, 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 ding,
Right.
follow me, or
Love
you get
it.
complimentary access to Tilt.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I wore a button that said, "Ask me about U2." I'm a big U2 fan,
it.
right?
Oh, there you go.
And people are like, "Oh yeah, did you go to that concert?" And end up, we're at the same concert. So again, there is the personality that can engage with the consumer, start a conversation, make it, more engaging for the consumer and fun. It always comes back to the fun
Exactly.
component of it. So
Yeah, well, and the relatability. I think that we want connection, we want to relate to each other, and when you make it easy by having a button on how I can connect with you, then you build that bond.
Yeah, I
faster.
think a lot of organizations out there, I've worked through quite a different, if you know my resume, is some of them are so cookie cutter, and this is, you have to wear the red tie, and you have to have the black jacket, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Those days I think, maybe it works in some businesses, but in a retail environment, like, you gotta relax. Like, you gotta, it's usually, our busiest days are the weekends and the holidays because people are off, right? So they're off, they're gonna try to have a good time, engage with them, have fun, right?
Yeah.
But I think, to Anthony's point, is having that individual's personality come out and help drive the business, the ownership of it, I think is a key to success.
Yeah, excellent ideas. I love it. Okay, American Dream is already setting the trend for retail landscape for sure. What upcoming trends and consumer behaviors are you most excited about, and how do you see American Dream innovating to meet those evolving experiences?
I think this might be all you.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think we are the trend center.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that was
That if you look at, again, having worked in the old school, 4 department stores, small shops in the middle, center court, right? Those days are over, right? This is not that, right? And I think this is the future, right? We're setting trends. We're setting trends every day. The Mr. Beast moment, right? We partnered with Mr. Beast. We had 85,000 people here for the opening of his first brick and mortar store, right?
Crazy.
We're doing stuff with sports personalities, the autograph sessions and stuff like that. But I think it's just staying relevant and fresh and kind of seeing what's in the community, what connects with the community, that keeps us on trend or above the trend. I think a lot of people these days are going to our website, especially with the other competing shopping centers. As you know, there's a lot of competing shopping centers in the surrounding area in New Jersey here, right? I believe that those managers are going to our website and say, "Oh my gosh, what is American Dream doing today?"
Probably,
right?
yeah.
Sometimes I find out about things, I'm like, "Wait, what? We're doing what?
What are we doing?"
Like, we're really going to do that? You know what? We should do that, right? So, I don't think it's one specific thing. Again, I've said this a couple times. Look at this beautiful avenue that we have here. We just opened up Isola Bella Champagne Bar in the middle of the common area.
Cool.
Right? Connecting food to the consumer while you're shopping is something else we're looking at doing. Making it fresh, unique offerings, right? So I don't know if it's one thing, but I do think that we are the trendsetter, and it's a fun position to be in because we're always creating new opportunities.
Yeah, no kidding. It's so awesome.
Especially when you think how easy it is to just order anything you want and have it delivered to your house. You got to give them a reason to get out of the house, get the family in the car, and come to a place. And if that could be memorable and exciting and really fun, that's when they're going to come back.
Yeah, well, and one thing for our listeners, obviously they don't have this type of facility and they're doing these kinds of things or the budget that you may have, but even inviting in a local influencer or somebody like a a sports person that's in their town that can sign autographs or teach the kids a new move or something. Like, there's so many things that they can do just with.
Again, we go back to the personality. Like, how do you bring your personality? Like, you might, like I said, I'm a U2 fan. Maybe you play, hey, shopping, it's a U2 day. We play U2 music all day long, right? Yeah. Or we're going to play the Yankees game, or we're going to play the Jets game, or, I don't know. There's things to do, but those are the things that I like, right? I don't know what the things are you like, but you can use that to connect to your consumer.
I love karaoke. So I do want to come back sometime and do karaoke here.
Let's do it.
My husband who's here, we're great. We love karaoke. Okay, I'm curious, what's the most popular attraction here?
It's probably a toss-up between two, and I think they have their own reasons for being the most popular. It's our two biggest attractions. So there's the DreamWorks water park and the Nickelodeon universe.
Okay.
In my opinion, and I may be wrong, I feel that they're so popular because people love water parks, and we have the largest water park in North America. That you're just so super duper excited. People are going into that because they love water parks.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon, on the other hand, is also one of the largest indoor amusement parks in North America, but it has that Nickelodeon IP. People love Nickelodeon.
Yeah, they do.
They are genuinely fans, walking in head to toe with classic 90s Nick, and they're so excited about seeing SpongeBob and riding certain rides that, so it goes neck and neck from time to time. Both of them are are you gonna ride some rides today, maybe?
I think we might.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Excellent.
we didn't bring our bathing suits for the water park,
Well,
but that'll be another time. Oh, you sell them. Okay, well,
you could buy a
smart.
really cool one in Saks right here.
Oh my goodness, see? Well, that was something I learned too on the tour of like you can buy a snowboard, you could buy your whole gear if you want to go. Yeah, I mean, it's so smart.
Yeah, I would agree with Anthony. I think, if you go back to the anchors, like our anchors are two amusement parks.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Nickelodeon and DreamWorks are absolutely fantastic, and I think the biggest uniqueness about them, as you said, is they're indoors. I mean, it's 30 some degrees outside right now, and it's 80 plus degrees in the water park, and a comfortable 70 something degrees in the amusement park, right?
Yeah.
It could be snowing outside, it could be raining, it could be 95 degrees outside, and yes, it's still 75 degrees in our amusement park.
Exactly.
Right?
You
so
know where you are. What's going on.
Yeah, that's right. You don't have to get on an airplane to go to, your favorite place because it's here.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
This should become one of your favorite destinations.
For
and
sure.
I think when people come here, and I think that's something unique or something we're working on with American Dream, is a lot of people just don't know what it is yet. Right.
Yeah.
Even you said, that you didn't quite understand what it is, right? We call it an entertainment retail complex. Super confusing, right? We've got to come up with a better term or just say a place for fun, right? But that's part of it is just the uniqueness. I mean, we talked about the ice rink, the ski hill, big snow, right? I mean, there's just a million things to do, but I think DreamWorks and Nickelodeon are definitely our anchors.
Those are top. Okay, awesome. All right, are you guys ready for the resilience round?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, let's go. You got it right
written
there,
on my
right?
hand.
Your cheat sheet? Okay, best business book.
We both agreed on this one, so this is fair. We both agreed.
I love
this
it.
is the most relevant, and I'm not doing a sales pitch for this, but this kind of changed the way, knowing our environment of disruptive marketing. I don't know if you ever heard of Savannah Bananas, but small league baseball team that was failing, and Jesse Cole came in ownership, and he said, "I'm going to change the rules of baseball." That's kind of what we're doing here at American Dream. We're changing the rules of shopping, entertainment, right?
Yeah.
So it talks about just some of the crazy things that could be relevant for a big business or small business, but it's way out there, different ideas, right?
Okay.
And they've really turned around. They're one of the most popular teams out there right now, at least in the minor leagues. They're playing at Fenway. They're playing at Yankee Stadium this year.
You
can't get tickets to it, right?
Incredible.
But if you read the book, it talks about what we've been talking about this whole podcast is engaging, fun. Some of the stuff he does is way out there. And I think the piece that really struck me home is it's okay to fail. Like he's tried some things that have failed miserably, right? He's like, okay, let's just not do that again. And we've done that too together, right? Yeah. But just keep trying, right? One other book that I'll bring up that was kind of personal to me, I was a big Chicago Bulls fan, Michael Jordan fan.
Oh, yeah.
Sacred Hoops by Phil Jackson is really a good book that I've read. I'm not a big reader, but again, I found something I was engaged with and kind of took me home. And it's really the journey of how Phil Jackson had to really manage Michael Jordan to become a team player. He was scoring the 60, points per game. And he finally, and they were losing, and he sat down with them and he said, "What do you think about today?" Because you're never going to win a championship, right? Scoring 60 points today. And if you look at the Bulls, they were not a bunch of superstars. They were, not really high draft picks.
Yeah.
And if you look what Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan did with those team players, they elevated each of the players to become probably the greatest legacy in basketball, right?
Yeah,
and I think that's very relevant to teams, as you're going to have some really strong players, team members, and you're going to have some opportunities, right?
Yeah.
But don't look at those people with opportunities and just push them aside.
Right.
Pull them in, engage with them, and see if they can become a Scottie Pippen
Yeah,
or
no
Horace
kidding.
Grant, right?
Yeah.
If you guys know who that is. But that's
Yeah.
another book that kind of hit
Amazing.
home to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can't wait to read both of those. And for our audio listeners, the name of the book, Find Your Yellow Tux.
Find Your Yellow Tux by Jesse Cole.
Beautiful.
Fun book. You can see I put out a lot of tips.
I know.
here.
I noticed that you marking that up. That's
Fun
awesome.
book.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Best retail technology, like an app or software.
He didn't agree with mine. I said Canva.
Oh,
Yeah,
Canva's great.
see, look at her face.
That's a great
Yeah,
one.
thank you. She was like, oh,
It's
Canva.
great. Yes.
He's like, what's Canva?
Yes.
And I'll
that's a
tell
great
you,
one.
I'll tell you, he'll explain it, but I think it's just any tool out there or AI that's going to educate you on your business or your consumer. I mean, there's a bunch of them out there.
Sure,
like
sure.
Canva, he
Right.
says is great. I'm sure it is.
I have a pet peeve for handwritten signs anywhere. So if you can make a
Okay.
fun, cool,
Yes.
good-looking sign,
Make it, yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of AI in Canva.
There's a lot, is there? Yeah,
Yes.
maybe I should learn about this thing.
I'm not teaching you.
Yeah.
But I just think it's really anything that's data is just so important. And bless you. And I think it's just anything that you can really learn with the
Yeah.
consumer about.
Awesome. How do you keep up with the ever-changing retail landscape?
We're not keeping up with the landscape. We're leading it.
Yeah, I mean, I think
yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
It's just.
I feel like we're designing what's going on.
Yeah, I also think that going out there and looking at what your competitors are doing.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are looking at us, right? So
They
I
are.
think going out and doing site tours, whether it's in the surrounding area or outside in different states, and seeing what's out there, because there's a lot of stuff out there that's cool.
There is, absolutely. To help retailers be stronger, more rooted in success, what's a surprise and delight best practice?
I think I mentioned it earlier. Think about the kids. You
Yeah.
know, have a little something fun at the POS for the kids, whether it's a sticker, a fun little piece of candy, a toy.
Yeah.
That goes a long way.
Awesome, love it.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it. I mean, personalization, ownership,
Yep.
bringing your personality out. No rules.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You make it up as you go, and just try to engage with that consumer.
Love it. If you had to start your careers all over again, what's one thing you'd do differently?
I think I learned how to sing.
Oh,
You like
there,
karaoke?
yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I was telling you earlier, I think I've lived in 19 states.
Yeah.
I grew up in a really small farm town. I love the small town of Junction City. So I was like, oh man, if I stayed there, would I've had the life that I've had. So I don't really regret or would do anything different. Work hard, play hard has been my motto, and I've learned a lot about the different destinations and the different developers that I've worked for.
Yeah.
They've all added to, I think, my success, right, or my interest in the industry,
Yeah.
right, is to learn, absorb, and then use that, right? So I don't know if I'd change anything,
Yeah.
I think I would.
Fair enough.
I'm happy with the path I'm going
Yeah,
down,
good.
and I would just encourage others to just do the same, as take risks.
Yeah.
I went from a farm to the airlines. I knew nothing about shopping, and here I am in an industry for
And
20
look,
plus years,
yeah,
right?
leading the way in the retail landscape. It's pretty awesome. What about you, Anthony?
I would say I would take a typing class. Who knew how much time I had?
Oh, are you a hunter and checker here?
I remember saying to myself, which is very weird, I'm like, I'm not going to be a secretary when I go, what am I going to take typing for? Uh-oh.
You need typing. Well, it's never too late.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Okay, finally, you guys, what do you think the future of independent retail looks like?
Yeah, it's a lot of things we talked about, right? You may not have a big canvas like we have, and we're very fortunate to have that, right? But it's really the connection with the consumer. I think, right, that that ROI of the engagement, right? If you can connect with your consumer in any way that can help promote your business, I feel like that's the future. And thinking outside the box, get out of the box, get out of the box.
Get out of the box. I so agree. Anthony?
I like to see it as a place where people are going to go to have fun in addition to shopping.
Yeah.
You give them another reason to have some sort of activity other than just shopping to go there for.
I love it. How can people learn more and connect with you guys?
Yeah, we're on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm assuming you're on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But more importantly, the best way to do it is come to American Dream.
Yes.
Ask for us, right? We're usually, Anthony's always out and about, but we're very accessible, as you know, right? Our teams are very accessible, but you come visit American Dream, connect us via LinkedIn, but come to the property. It's amazing.
I love it. Yes, you have to come to the property, listeners. You guys, this was so awesome. Thank you so much for taking time and sitting down with me.
Yeah, same.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes, everyone remember that I'm rooting for your success. Have a great week ahead. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Rooted in Retail podcast. It means the world to me to have you here. If you find value in this show and you listen on an iPhone, if you could leave a review on the Apple Podcast app, that would be amazing. And if you watch YouTube, if you're a YouTube subscriber, we film this. And so if you rather watch the show, you can also do that over on YouTube. Again, thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.